There's another critter that really hasn't been in Michigan for too long. It's our elk herd. It's one that has been propagated and cultivated by the DNR to the point where in the 1960s they could have a limited elk hunt. We've had elk hunts all through the 80s. About 150 hunters per year partake in this. Let's take a look at the elk hunt from 1988, a year we were able to get up there and capture the elk hunting on film. Doesn't look like something you'd see in Michigan, does it? A bull elk. No, it's not on a hunting preserve or enclosed in a zoo. This is one of Michigan's wild bull elk of the Pigeon River country, a wild tract of land in the northeastern Lower Peninsula that's perfect elk habitat. So perfect that the elk herd has come upon boom times in the past 20 years. Their numbers approach 1,000 after the calves are dropped in the spring. And as far as the local landowners and farmers and the DNR are concerned, that's a few hundred elk too many. This spectacular footage was taken by DNR photographer Dave Kenyon, documenting the numbers and the size of Michigan's elk in 1988. This was taken just before the December hunt the DNR regulates so that elk numbers are trimmed back before winter. 72 elk were harvested in a special October hunt this year. This was on the western end of the Michigan Elk Range. That part of the herd migrates into protected areas by December, and the DNR didn't want that part of the herd to get too far out of control. Now, when I'm talking about a wildlife population getting out of control like elk or deer, I'm talking about constant increases in their numbers to the point that they actually destroy the habitat they live in. They destroy it for their own species, they destroy it for other species that normally live there. The Black River Ranch is managed by Jerry Gillette, who talked to Bob Garner about this Black River herd.
Looking around at this clearing, now you say, when did you cut this clearing?
This was cut about 5-6 years ago.
5 or 6 years ago?
This was supposed to have been a grouse habitat or woodcock habitat cut. And it should be 8, 9, 10 feet high by this time, and, well, let's see what you got.
Well, you should have been able to shoot woodcock here this fall.
Right, that was the object. We've been doing this, and every time we make a cut now, we got more open acres. We have about 150 elk in here in the fall. And you can see what they're doing, like a mowing machine. So we can't handle 150 elk in this place.
Land managers like Jerry serve as guides during the annual elk hunts, taking the lucky hunters to the areas the elk are most likely to be found. On opening day, cameraman James Ford followed Jerry, who was taking Steve Leiter from Grass Lake onto the Black River Ranch, and it didn't take long to locate a couple of trophy bulls. If Steve wasn't so nervous and excited, he could have loaded his rifle in 1/4 the time. Steve was one of 145 successful applicants whose names were drawn by computer to receive December elk hunting permits. He's going for a bull elk that weighs 5 times as much as an average white-tailed deer, 5 times the venison in one shot. Let's be real quiet and tag along as he stalks within shooting range.
There's 2 of them.
This one right here, between them 2 trees here.
This one right here?
Right, that's the biggest.
There's one over here on the right, one on the
Yeah,
left.
the one on the left's the biggest one. He's got a beautiful rack.
His first shot missed, so he squeezes slowly on his second. The big bull didn't flinch at the shot. It may not have felt anything, but it was a vital hit, and the effect of the bullet put the bull down quickly and humanely. If Steve was excited loading his rifle and trying to hold steady on the shot, can you imagine how he must feel right now? There's a certain anxiety most hunters feel about putting a big animal like this down, but when it's over, he'll have those big 6x5 antlers on the wall and at least 150 pounds of venison for the freezer. Well, Joel Stoich's family might prefer a couple of $1 million instead of a 6x6 bull elk, but like most dyed-in-the-wool hunters, it's difficult for us to put a price or a value on our right to hunt. Besides trimming the herd back to a more manageable size, the DNR's controlled elk hunt gives many families and friends a chance to enjoy meals made from excellent elk venison. That's a rare treat in itself. Hunters had a good track record on the December hunt. 143 out of 145 filled their tags legally and ethically. One hunter took a bull when he had a permit for a cow only. He was arrested. The other unsuccessful hunter gave up and went home after 3 days. The state record for weight was broken twice. The new record bull was a 6x6 that weighed 770 pounds, field dressed. All this adds up to the fact that Michigan's elk are bigger and healthier than ever in 1988.